Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Hope you are well. So today I have come up with the text, with the last part of the text Goblin Market written by C.G. Rossetti. I think in this video I will complete the text, the complete text. So without wasting time, let us read it out. One may lead a horse to water, 20 cannot make him drink. There is a proverb, actually we can say a 12th century proverb, English proverb, which means that you can lead a horse to water, you can lead someone to somewhere or to some places or to do some work, but you cannot actually force them to do that work. Okay, you cannot make them to do that work. That means you cannot make the horse to drink that water. Okay, so this word, this phrase 20 cannot make him drink, this is to emphasize the power, the forces actually the goblin has empowered on Lizzie. Okay, though the goblins cuffed and caught her, coaxed and fought her, bullied and besought her, scratched her, pinched her black as ink, kicked and knocked her, mauled and mocked her, Lizzie uttered not a word. So these goblins have attacked Lizzie. They tried to bully her, they scratched her, they pinched her as dark as black. Actually they fought with Lizzie, and all the time Lizzie had completely resisted that. They kicked her, they knocked her, they tried to sexually exploit her, and every bad thing that could happen actually happened to Lizzie, but Lizzie was completely showing her resistance. Okay, so at the end what happens? No, would not open lip from lip, but Lizzie did not open her lip from lip. Actually she didn't open her lip, and as a result they were not able, the goblins were not able to thrust the fruits, the magical fruits into her mouth. Okay, lest they should cram a mouthful in, so that they will not be able to cram her mouth full with these magical fruits, but loved in heart to feel the drip of juice that syruped all her face. But she was laughing in her heart, she was inwardly laughing with these acts, because she knew that all these fruits are actually smashed in her face and producing the juice that was completely stuck in her face. Okay, that was syruping in her face and lodged in the dimples of her chin, and these syrups were collected in the dimples of her chin. Okay, and streaked her neck with quaked like curd. So as a result what happened now, her neck was quaking, was shivering like curd, like yogurt. At last the evil people, worn out by her resistance. So what happens? We can say that when we can tolerate, as per Christianity and as per many of the religions in this world, it is said that who can tolerate will actually stands in the long run. Very much like that Lizzie stand. Okay, Lizzie stood these troubles, stood these fightings of these goblin men. She resisted them, and as a result what happened? No, she she stood victorious. Okay, flung back her penny, kicked their fruit along whichever road they took, not leaving root or stone or shoot. Some writhed into the ground and some dived into the brook. So what happened? No, these goblin men actually left her completely. They threw their fruits and they jumped in the brook. Some of them vanished in the ground, and the others with ring and ripples, some scudded on the gale without a sound, some vanished in the distance. So some of them completely vanished in some distance. Okay, so all of them left Lizzie, and Lizzie was absolutely victorious, we can say. In a smart ache tingle, Lizzie went her away. So now Lizzie is free, and she is walking towards her home. Knew not was it night or day. She was completely in a hallucination, we can say, and she has not the idea of whether it is a night or it is day. Actually we can compare this to Laura's state of mind when she had eaten the fruits, but at that time Laura was under the spells of these goblin men, and Lizzie is just taking the antidote for her sister, we can say. Sprang up the bank, tore through the furs, threaded copse and dingle, and heard her penny jingle bouncing in her purse. So, although her body is aching, she was in a trauma like state, we can say, but also she is flying and running, we can say. So, where she has got such power, such force to run through these areas, even after getting so much of troubles in her body, as we have already read that her body was paining. Because when we do something good, we have that courage, we have that power or force, so that we can do whatever we want to do. So she was running towards her house so that she can bear that antidote for her sister, and all the pennies, silver pennies, was bouncing in her purse. Its bounce was music to her ear. So the bounce was actually very much like a music, a piece of music to her ear. She ran and ran. She didn't stop there, as if she feared some goblin man dogged her with jibe or curse. So her running was very much like as if a maiden who is running because of the fear of these goblins. But although she has not, at the same time, she has not the fear of these goblins, but she was so speedy in her run, we can say, that her running was compared to this, okay, compared very much like chased by a dog, a mad dog, we can say. But not one goblin scurried after. No one was there. No, the goblins was not there. They were not there. They have actually vanished. The kind heart made her windy paced. So the kind heart, the heart that was kind for her sister's sake, we can say, and that is why this kind heartedness actually made her windy paced, that urged her home quite out of breath with haste and inward laughter. So she was going towards house with laughter, with smile in her face. She cried Laura up the garden. When she had appeared in the garden, she actually cried, Laura, did you miss me? Come and kiss me. So she is requesting Laura to come and kiss her. Never mind my bruises, hug me, kiss me, suck my juices, squeezed from goblin fruits for you. So I have squeezed these goblin fruits, these syrups, these juices from the goblin fruits, and you must suck this, you must kiss me and hug me. This hug me, kiss me and suck me has some erotic sense, we can say, but after reading the complete text, we can say that this is not that much important, okay. So this is the goblin pulp, this is the goblin dew. Eat me, drink me, love me, Laura, make much of me. So Lizzie was asking Laura to eat her, to drink her, and to love her. Look at this line, eat me, drink me, and love me. This is an allegory, we can say. These very words were said by Jesus Christ to his disciples at the time of the Last Supper. Okay, every year in the time of Christmas, we actually have the rituals that we eat cakes and drink the red wine. So what is the symbolical in these rituals? Actually, this piece of cake was nothing but the symbol of the piece of meat from Jesus's body, and the red wine is nothing but Jesus's blood. So after eating that and after drinking that, we actually get rid of our sins. So very much like that, we can say Lizzie here becomes the Christ-like figure, and she is asking her sister to drink the juice, to eat that juice, and after that she might be able to get rid of the sin that she has already done. So after that she can love her, Laura can love Lizzie, okay. So in the next line, for your sake I have braved the glen and had to do with goblin merchantmen. So she is saying that she had fought with these goblin merchantmen only because the sake of her sister, of Laura. So she is saying that just come near me and drink that juice that is dripping from my face, okay. In the next stanza, Laura started from her chair, flung her arms in the air. So after hearing this, what will happen to Laura, as she had already known that what can happen after eating the fruits of these goblin men, or we can see these quote unquote forbidden fruit of these goblin men. She had already understood that, so she is very much anxious or worried for her sister, that that same thing might going to happen with her sister too. So she is very much worried that whether Lizzie had eaten that fruits also. Lizzie, Lizzie, have you tasted for my sake the fruit forbidden? So have you tasted already? Must your light like mine be hidden? So if you have already eaten that fruit, your condition will be very much same like me. The light or the glittering or the brightness in your face will completely be hidden, completely be covered. Your young life like mine be wasted, and your life, that is your youth, is going to be completely wasted, undone in mine undoing and ruined in my ruin, thirsty, cankered, goblin ridden. So she clung about her sister. So as per the instructions given by Lizzie, she actually came closer to her sister, kissed and kissed and kissed her. So she just kissed and kissed her. So she is completely out of her mind, completely unconscious that what is going there. She is just kissing and kissing her sister. Tears once again refreshed her shrunken eyes. So we have already read that her eyes was completely dried up, that was completely shrunken, and there is no trace of tears. But after eating that fruit, after eating that juice, we can say tears once again came up. Okay, tears once again started falling from her eyes, dropping like rain after a long sultry drought. So this is very much like the rain after a scorching drought, we can say. Shaking with aguish fear and pain, she kissed and kissed her with a hungry mouth. So she was very much like feeling the pain, feeling the fever-like symptoms, and after that she is just kissing and kissing her with a hungry mouth. She is very much hungry, or we can say just because of this drinking these fruits, the juice of these fruits, we can say. Okay, in the next stanza, her lips began to scorch. That juice was wormwood to her tongue. So this juice of these fruits, of these magical fruits, was once honey like to her. So now this is completely transformed to such like wormwood, or we can say very much bitter. Okay, so this is very much like wormwood to her tongue. She loathed the feast, writhing as one possessed. So after eating that, after drinking that juice, what happens to her? She started behaving like someone possessed. She leaped and sung. So she started leaping up and she started singing, rent all her robe and wrung her hands in lamentable haste. So she tore up completely her robe, and at the same time she was just wringing her hands and beating her breast. She started beating up her breast. Her locks steamed like the torch borne by a racer at full speed. So the locks of her hair was very much like the torch that is borne by a racer who is at his full speed, or like the mane of horses in their flight, or like an eagle when she steams the light straight towards the sun, or like a caged thing freed. So she actually started running from here and there. So why she was doing that? She was doing that because she was very much in pain. She was very much facing the symptoms like fever. Okay, so after eating that juices, that actually started working as the antidote of the pains, or we can say the aches or the diseases that she had already faced after eating that goblin fruits. Okay, or like a flying flag when armies run, and she is also compared to the flag that is flying when the armies are running victorious. Okay, in the next stanza, swift fire spread through her veins. So after drinking these fruit juices, a fire like something actually started running through her veins, knocked at her heart, made the fire smoldering there, and overbore its lesser flame, she gorged on bitterness without a name. So that juice was very much bitter. It tastes completely bitter. A fool to choose such part of soul-consuming care, sense failed in the mortal strife. So what happened after eating that juice? She completely fainted. She was completely unconscious. And she fall on the ground like the watchtower of a town which an earthquake shatters down. So she had fallen on the ground very much like the watchtower that is shattered down after a heavy earthquake, like a lightning stricken mast, like a wind uprooted tree, and very much her condition was like a huge tree that is uprooted by a heavy wind, spun about like a foam-topped waterspout, cast down headlong in the sea. She fell at last. So at last she fell on the ground. Pleasure past and anguish past. Is it death or is it life? So the narrator, or we can say the poetic persona, is completely in confusion that whether it is death or it is life. She cannot understand that, and at the same time she is answering that this is life out of death. So this is life, we can say, that she has gained from death, very much like we can say here is a reference of the phoenix, the biblical bird that actually get its life after death, that actually comes up, or we can say there is the birth of the new species of this phoenix bird from its own ashes. So very much like that, very much like going through this condition, Laura is actually reviving. Okay, that night long Lizzie watched by her, counted her pulses flagging stare. So her pulse is completely going up and down, up and down, felt for her breath. Lizzie is attending her and held water to her lips and cooled her face with tears and fanning leaves. So as her temperature is going high, Lizzie is just applying water and fanning her. Okay, but when the first birds chirped about their eaves, and early reapers plodded to the place of golden sheaves, and dew-wet grass bowed in the morning, winds so brisk to pass, and new birds with new day opened off cup like lilies on the stream. Laura awoke as from a dream. So with the opening of the new day, with the coming new day, Laura actually is completely revived. She is very much like going through a dream, and now she is just, we can say, has come up from this dream. She is completely awakened from her dream. Okay, so she is compared here as if a sleeping person who is going through a dangerous dream, and now she just opened up her eyes, and this is completely a new day, a new life for Laura that is gifted by Lizzie. Okay, in the next lines, loved in the innocent old way. So after getting up from her dream, she started laughing in the old innocent way. Hugged Lizzie, but not twice or thrice. So she hugged Lizzie. Her gleaming lock showed not one thread of grey, and her hairs that is actually transformed to grey, that is not anymore grey, that has completely changed into golden locks. Okay, her breath was sweet as May, and light danced in her eyes. So there was brightness in her eyes also. Days, weeks, months, years afterwards. So after several days, after several weeks, months and years, when both were wives. So now they are not maidens, they are wives now, with children of their own. So they have also their children. Their mother hearts beset with fears. So as now they have become the mothers, their hearts is very much filled with fears, because they were fearing that these goblin men might have attacked their children also. Their lives bound up in tender lives, Laura would call the little ones and tell them of her early prime. So she just called the little ones their children, and actually started telling the stories of her early prime, of her early days, those pleasant days long gone of not returning time. So time will not return. That, so she is saying that the time that has passed is completely past, that will not going to return. Would talk about the haunted glen, the wicked, quaint fruit merchantman. So she talked about the haunted glen, the haunted valley that was haunted by the fruit merchantmen, the goblins, who used to sell the fruits. Their fruits like honey to the throat, but poison in the blood. So this fruit is very much, or we can say very much like honey, or very much sweet to the throat, but at the same time that is very much poisonous in the blood. Men sell not such in any town. So these type of fruits is not sold anywhere in this world. Would tell them how her sister stood in deadly peril to do her good. So she said that her sister actually stood by her, she actually fought for her and brought the antidote of that disease, of that dangerous fruits. Okay, so this is only her sister who actually stood by her and win the fiery antidote. Then joining hands to little hands would bid them cling together. But there is no friend like a sister. So she is saying that there is no friend like a sister. There is no companion like a sister who will stand by us in the time of our problems, in calm or stormy weather. When the weather is calm, or whether the weather is stormy, actually they will stand by us whether our days are going good or going bad, to cheer one on the tedious way, to fetch one if one goes astray. So if we choose the wrong way, they will actually guide us, they will actually show the right way, to lift one if one totters down. So if we fall down, they will lift us, and to strengthen whilst one stands. So when we stand, they will actually strengthen us by standing by us. Okay, so the very idea in these stanza, or all through this poem, we can say, of forming the womanhood, we can say. Actually, C.G. Rossetti is just giving the idea that the woman must stand by another woman in their need. Okay, and thus we can say that they can actually have the power. Okay, so here this poem ends. Hope this will be of help. If you find this a little worthy, then please give it a like, do share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed yet. So thank you for watching this video.